Nordheim, a licensed mental health therapist in the state of Georgia. I'm also trauma trained and the owner of Growth and Wellness Therapy Center. Today I have my guest with me, Jewel Janae. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Jewel is a makeup artist here in Atlanta, and she's going to join me today so that we can have a conversation around mental health and just life in general. I believe that it's really important for us to normalize the conversations around mental health therapy, and Jewel has been kind enough to join me so that we can just be open and candid today, right?
You're right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, Jewel, let's just jump right in. What is it that you've always known about mental health therapy? What are some of the myths that you've heard about it?
I think there's a lot of myths surrounding, especially like in the Black community, whether or not you should get therapy and things like that. But it helps so much. I was actually a psych major at West Georgia, and one of the things we learn is you're not like your patient is probably going to lie to you or not tell you the whole truth. It's your side, my side, and what really happened. And most people think, oh, a therapist is going to tell you what you should think or how you should feel, how you should tackle your problems. And it's not that. It's that their job is to ask you the questions to help you solve your own problems. So I think that's like the biggest myth is that you're going to sit down in a chair and somebody's going to tell you what to do. Because I think that's absolutely not the case.
And you are exactly right. So many of my clients come in expecting me to tell them what to do, but I have to explain to them that they already have the answers. My job is to help guide them towards those answers.
Exactly.
And so, yes, exactly. Because a lot of times we have not been empowered to believe in ourselves, to trust ourselves, and to go with that intuition that we already have deep inside of us.
It's tough when you start second guessing yourself, third guessing yourself. And I always say your first thought is God talking to you. That's what you're supposed to do. So I think that's really important.
Right, okay. So have you in your personal life ever dealt with anything that has caused you to really be concerned about your mental health?
Yeah, quite a few things actually. And I actually end up being the sounding board for a lot of my friends that deal with loss. When I was 15, I lost my mom. And then my grandmother started taking care of me until I started taking care of her. And then that was 2014. And now I'm taking care of my elderly uncle. And so like I've dealt with a lot of loss and, just grief and stuff like that. So my friends usually kind of come to me to like, how did you deal with it? I'm like, baby, I'm still dealing with it. It's a lot. It's more of like an everyday thing. That sounds kind of cliche. Oh, you got to deal with it one day at a time. But it is like you got to kind of allow yourself to feel your feelings and keep going. Like you can have a pity party for yourself, but you could give yourself like 15, 20 minutes and then you got to keep going with the rest of your day.
Exactly. You have to give yourself that grace. And some of the things that you're saying to me makes me feel like you've probably had some experience with either a therapist in your past where somebody's helped you to process some of these things. Would that be so?
Yes. And yes, I have been to therapy in college. I experienced loss there as well. I ended up getting a hardship withdrawal from my school because I was depressed. And my teacher, one of my lit professors, he showed up to my off-campus apartment like, what's up with you? Why you not at school? So I explained to him everything. He's like, you're too bright. You need to get a withdrawal, like, so it doesn't mess with your GPA and things like that. But when I was at West Georgia, I was getting free therapy. I was getting free antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicine and stuff like that. And I really wish that could extend beyond school. It's something so necessary. And then I went to it was a pretty diverse school, but like the staff wasn't necessarily that diverse. So all of my therapists were like kind of older, not my color, don't know nothing about what I'm talking about. Like I had to kind of explain who I am or, what my culture is. So I think it's important to have therapists from all walks of life because once people really like have these type of conversations and it becomes more normal, everybody's going to want to get into therapy. Everybody's going to want to like have somebody to talk to, because your friends, they either gonna be on your side, or you talking about that guy that they're so tired of hearing you talking about it. This person's getting paid, so at least you don't have to feel so bad about it, and then somebody can relate to
Right,
you.
right. Yeah, I think you really hit on something when you said that, people burden their friends or their family. Like you said, you had a lot of people use you as a sounding board, and you can actually develop compassion fatigue, where it's like you don't want to hear anything from anybody else because you're still trying to deal with your own stuff, right?
Right.
As far as like continuing the practices that were taught to you when you were in school at West Georgia through those therapists, and then the antidepressants and things like that, what was the biggest thing that stopped you from continuing therapy once you left school?
The cost. No insurance. So, and they even have like these little apps and stuff that you can go to, but they want like $200. It's not, it's really the cost.
Okay.
And I feel like I was alongside so many people in classes that want to be psychologists, want to be therapists, and things like that. And everybody by nature was a compassionate person and curious about people. So the fact that like going into the professional field, like you're not really going to see nobody unless they have the money to pay for it, kind of sucks, because it's probably
Okay.
going to be the people that are disenfranchised or don't have the money to see therapists that probably need it the most.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And these days, a lot of therapists are not taking insurance because there's so much red tape involved with it. Honestly, if I could have it my way, I would like for mental health therapy to be free for everybody, because to me, mental health therapy or mental health stability is the basis of everything. Because when people are suicidal, when people are when they're going out and killing other people, when they're committing crimes, all of that starts somewhere up here, because they're not balanced, and they're going through a lot of stressful times, which causes them to act
Absolutely.
out. And if we had therapy for them before they got to that breaking point, then maybe a lot of that could be avoided.
Absolutely. And people love to watch all these true crime shows. I'm guilty. Like, oh, and the first thing they start telling you about the murderer is how they grew up, what was
Yes.
wrong in their past, or what they were dealing with that led up to that. And that's the first thing you want to know. Well, what were their parents doing? Where were,
Right.
it's always that. So it's what we're living that right now. Wherever you are, that's where you're at, mentally. And it's going to influence your decisions and your actions later on in life.
Exactly. I also want to touch on another thing that you pointed out, that you didn't see anyone who looks like you, who you felt like was culturally relatable to you. I get that a lot too. And I'm happy to say there are more and more people of color who are moving into the therapy field, because whenever I ask my clients, how did you find me? They usually tell me they found me on Therapy for Black Girls. And that tells me that they are looking specifically for somebody that they feel like they can relate to, who looks like them. And I can't tell you how often my clients and I have these amazing sessions, and at least several times a week, we talk about hair, we talk about childhood, we talk about everything, and I get this sense that they are completely comfortable with me because they know I get it. They know I get it without having to break it down, explain, circle back, break it down again, and explain again, and then still be left feeling as if, I'm not sure they got it.
And then my hour's up. That used to happen to me all the
Exactly.
time. Like,
Yes.
after I get done explaining this, that, and the third, we barely got into what I wanted to come and talk to you about, because now the hour is up, and I'm walking away kind of feeling like cheated.
Yes, exactly. And then a lot of my clients, sometimes they'll come on, because we've been doing a lot of telehealth Zoom sessions. They'll come on and say, well, I'm not turning my camera on today. And I would ask why. Oh, because I still have my hair bonnet on. I'm like, you know who you're talking to, right?
Right.
And then click, the camera comes on. And it's like
Right.
they feel comfortable being able to be who they are in that moment, knowing that they don't have to wear a mask for me, because I get it. I mean, sometimes I'm like, look, would it make you feel better if I put a bonnet on too? Because I will do it.
Right. That's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. We need that more, because oh, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. You know what I don't like? when somebody asks you, hey, how you been? How you been doing? You haven't seen them in a while. Oh, I've really been going through. Like, if you tell them the truth, you watch like the color go out of their face. Like, what? You weren't supposed to
They
really
weren't
tell
ready
me
for
how
it,
you're
right?
doing.
Right? They
You
were
know,
not ready for
right?
it.
I
And they're
was
like,
being polite. You're supposed to be polite and not have anything wrong with you.
yeah.
You know, I don't like that's like a pet peeve of mine because if you really ask me how I'm doing, I really, depending on who it is, I'll tell you. But I can give you a stock answer. But if we really care about each other, then you should want to know. You know?
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
know what's happening in those moments when people kind of take a step back because they got more than what they were asking for or what they bargained for because they asked for it, right? They got more than they bargained for. To me, that feels like they are possibly not really living in their truth because what they are hearing from you is a reflection of something that they've already been going through and they've been keeping it bottled up inside and they haven't shared with anybody. So you triggered them.
That's very true. I think that too. I
You
feel like
triggered them.
everybody's going through something. Like I let you know a few sentences about what's going on with me. Feel free, you know.
Right,
If we need a hug or a smile or a crack a joke, I can do that. I had a friend get in a horrible car accident. I went to go see her the same day, and I had her laughing as soon as I got her in there. Like, as soon as I got into the house, I'm like, you know, because I mean, this is a horrible situation. I already know that, but we don't necessarily to heal. We don't necessarily have to sit and have a cry section. We can sit and we can take a nap. We can,
Exactly.
laugh. We can just like veg out. It doesn't really have to be, like all of that is healing, I think.
It is. It is. I think it would be helpful if a lot more people felt more comfortable allowing their vulnerability to show through because there's a lot of people walking around out here wearing a mask. They wear a mask to church, to work. Sometimes they wear a mask in their own home. Sometimes they wear a mask when they are alone from themselves. They don't want to even face what's going on deep inside of them for themselves. So they wear a mask and they're not even realizing that they're wearing a mask. It's like it's okay to allow yourself to have those down moments, to cry, to break down. It is okay to sit with your feelings.
Right.
It's okay to not be okay. And
Right, that part.
I'm really trying very hard to teach people to be more comfortable with themselves, to accept themselves first of all, and to validate themselves and not wait and feel like they have to wait for somebody else to do it for them.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, sometimes some people like they're kind of project their things on you. Like you're supposed to be okay because I'm acting okay. And like, sometimes it can be people being judgmental at church. Like you got all these demons in your closet and you talking about me. And so I feel like that's a mental illness in itself to be so judgmental knowing you have, all these things. I think there's a lack of self-awareness.
Definitely, definitely. So, as we start to wrap things up, what are some of the things that you have done on your own to help you on your healing journey, to help you navigate through all of the stuff that you've experienced? Because you've shared some of that with me and you've been through a lot. What are some of the things that you did that might help others to make it through as well?
I'm a Googler because I do have a problem like saying I need help or I'm sad or whatever, but I've tried to overcome that because I have struggled with suicidal thoughts and things like that. And like once I tell somebody that I'm close to that I went through that, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you call me? And it's kind of like you feel like you're the only person going through things. So I've done a lot of like just Googling. I didn't know that somebody like Jada Pinkett was an alcoholic at the beginning of her career. She was extremely depressed and stuff like that. And I look at her now and how transparent and open she is. I think that's dope. And so it's like I really just started looking up like kind of like celebrities that have gone through depression. I learned a lot about Kelsey Grammer, Frazier.
Yes.
Like all of his siblings died very young, and he was dealing with drugs and alcohol and stuff all while he was still filming Frasier and things like that. Being an on-air psychologist, so it's just like people are really going through stuff and they keep going. And for a long time, especially after losing my mom, it would be like weeks at a time. I wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't get out of the bed. If her birthday was coming around, I wasn't doing anything that whole 3-4 days, things like that. And I just decided that I was tired of depression winning. Like, I'm tired of being sad, like literally just tired of it. And so I was just like, I'm going to let myself feel whatever I'm feeling, and I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
And if I need to reach out to somebody, I'll reach out. If I need to talk or, just sit and pray, I'll do that. Sometimes I sit and just like, I'll be in my car just talking to God. Somebody might think I'm crazy just talking to the air, but I'll just be talking, like some yelling, crying, upset, don't understand. But dealing with so much anxiety and stuff like that, and having gone through so much alone, I know the importance of like not being alone, or not like letting yourself feel like you're the only person going through something. So I try to like reach out to my support systems more. And yeah, you have a computer in your hand at all times, so
Exactly.
I need a little bit of motivation. I can like
Right.
let me get some quotes, let me get some meditations or
Right.
some devotions or something going.
And you mentioned that depression. You had some depression when you got started with doing makeup. That's actually how you kind of overcame
Literally
that.
every time I was really, really depressed when I got in college. That's how I started in college. Every time I was sad, every time I was just like, just
For me,
yeah,
yes.
for me having pity parties, something with makeup would like pop up. And I'm all self-taught.
Okay.
And so my roommates were all older than me. And they used to, like, I used to play around in their stuff. And then I guess I was pretty good. And they were like, hey, they would peek their head in. Can you use this on me the way you did on you? So I was like, okay. And so I guess I did pretty good with that. And I was 17, like, all through, like, my first year of college. So I couldn't get into the clubs, and they would always come home from the club like, oh, so and so looked like such a freshman. I'm like, okay. So then they invited me out one night, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to look like a freshman. So I did my makeup, and I guess I did a good job. I was getting compliments all night, and one of my roommates is head of the Black Student Alliance. She's like, do you want to do the makeup for the whole fashion show for the Black Student Alliance? Didn't know I was signing up for like 50 people, doing it like basically by myself. But
oh my gosh,
it was so fun, and it was like I was excited the whole time. I'm sweating, like I'm tired, but I'm happy the whole time.
So you realized this was your joy.
And every time something sad would happen, like my grandma getting older and having to take care of her more, things like that, my career just kept going, and now makeup has taken me more places than college has.
Okay.
So I'm really passionate about it. I think I'm just passionate about seeing the beauty in life.
Yeah.
And seeing people see the beauty in themselves.
Yes. Well, you have certainly helped me to see the beauty in me, because you
It's
did
all
my
there.
makeup today. Thank you so much.
You're
and your makeup is
welcome.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me today, because I think it's very important for us to share our vulnerability and our openness to talk about mental health, because we all need to understand why our mental health matters. So if people want to find you for makeup or whatever, where can they find you?
My website is jewelmua.com.
Okay.
My Instagram handle is the same, @jewelmua, and I'm very accessible. Like, the emails, everything is all on there. So if you get to jewelmua.com, you got me. You got my phone number and everything.
Okay. All right, great.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
having me, Tammy.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.